right. Good Saturday evening, everyone. Welcome to the Citation YouTube channel and this Saturday night flight. Go ahead and get everything loaded in here. We are going to be, as the title indicates, heading from Aspen to Jackson Hole, which, if you ask me, is the quintessential route for any private jet owner. Be heading out of Aspen, Colorado, that fancy place, right into Jackson Hole, Wyoming, another luxurious and fancy place. So, and usually chock full of private jets, 100%. So, that is what we are going to be doing. I will go ahead and address the elephant in the room. This is not the same cockpit as last time. And while this is a Citation cockpit, it is not the Longitude cockpit. We are going to fly the Longitude, as we always do. However, after watching back the last video where I kind of have the chatting set up here of being in the cockpit of the plane, usually before we take off and fly, it just looked a little bland behind me with the unfinished Longitude just having its little curtain pulled shut right there, separating the cabin and the cockpit. And just really no depth to it. It looked pretty uninteresting, and I thought, you know what? The CJ4 is finished off. It looks nice. It's got a cabin until someone actually does that to the Longitude, we are going to use the CJ4 as our backdrop for our chatting view here, though. So, yes, we are in a CJ4 cockpit, but we will be flying the Longitude. So, again, anyone out there that wants to model the Longitude, I've got your back 100%. I'm not going to go on record and say I'll pay you, but privately, let's talk. We can make something happen. It would make my day if the Citation Longitude could just get completely modeled out. It would be so amazing. But anyway, until that happens, yeah, we're going to use the CJ4's interior because it's just a lot more interesting to look at and cool and fun and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we are going to pick up this flight from the very beginning, including scheduling our flight plan. Now, we're not going to do VATSIM tonight. I'm just going to use the AI ATC and do the way that I've always done. If you've watched here from some of my earlier videos, the way that I talk to the ATC and just mute out the pilot voice and all that kind of stuff. So fairly realistic, but obviously not as realistic as VATSIM would be. But I'm going to be testing out the new VNAV procedures and things that we kind of figured out over the last few days. Just want to kind of get a handle on those and get a little more practice in with them before I go back into VATSIM and start putting that kind of stuff to use. But so basically, we're just going to do a full flight here that we would typically do the type of setup and preparation for a VATSIM flight, but we're just going to go ahead and do it. I think I've got live traffic turned on, so we'll see whatever actual real-time traffic is out there. Not players in the game, but, you know, just realistic traffic. So going from Aspen to Jackson Hole, I'm not sure we're going to run into a ton of, like, airliner traffic or anything like that, but I'm sure we'll get some ATC talking back with at least something out there. But, yeah, so we're gonna do the flight plan, and we'll do it together here in SimBrief and just create it there, and then we'll take that into the cockpit and input it into the FMS and then go from there. So Aspen to Jackson Hole shouldn't be more than about a 50-minute flight. Not really going to punch it too hard. I mean, I don't know what we'll set a cruising altitude maybe of about, we'll go like 28,000 feet because it's pretty scenic flight. And I don't want to get way up high where we can't really see anything. So we got live weather on. I did roll back the time a little bit because you don't want to fly this in the dark and not be able to see any of this awesome scenery we're going to see. So, but by the looks of the weather, I'm looking at the game screen right now. It doesn't look too bad at all. Should be pretty clear. So let's hop in, create a flight plan, and then we'll get it going into the cockpit, get everything inputted, and get our clearance and get going. So another little new thing that I did here is we're going to do this SimBrief plan as if we are sitting in the cockpit, and I'm going to use one of the main flight display screens to show it. So I figured it was just a little more realistic and more immersive to do it that way rather than just drag a screen over here onto the desktop while we're doing it. So I'm going to transition us real quick to the front dash of the Longitude, and we're going to take a look at how to input a flight plan into SimBrief. So here we go. All right, so this is what it looks like if you go to SimBrief.com, which I believe they say is a part of Navigraph. They own that, so, or they are partners with them. But this is where you would go if you're flying like in the VATSIM network or something to submit a flight plan, and you can just easily upload it to them so that they have it, and it's kind of, like a real life type of a situation. But you can also go in here and create a flight plan just to have if you don't want to do it in the world map from the front page of the flight simulator software. So once you get in here and get an account set up and all that kind of stuff, we're just going to create a new flight. I'm not going to go through like a tutorial of how to do this. I just figured it'd be fun to follow along as we do it together here. But we are just going to be doing a departure from KASE, which is Aspen, and we are going to Jackson Hole, which is JAC. So once you input those two, it's going to search them, recognize them. It'll throw in an alternate arrival there in case your first one doesn't work out. Over here, I usually just leave some reserve fuel about 45 minutes. Don't mess with any of that typically. My aircraft type, I have a saved profile for the longitude, so I just select it, and then it'll go ahead and fill in all of this additional information here, and the ATC call sign if we were flying in VATSIM. Of course, I'd fill that in. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, because why not? Yeah, so we got that. Scheduled flight time, they're showing about an hour and a half, so the flight simulator showed 45 minutes, but I guess that's technically just doing direct to. This isn't with any kind of route yet put in yet, so maybe about an hour and a half once it's all said and done. So I'm going to clear out my name in there. Passengers, we'll say we're hauling some people here. Let's say we're hauling 6 people. I won't throw in a bunch of extra freight or anything like that. This is where I put my notes in when I did it the first time around, showing that it was my first time flying in VATSIM, so be gentle with me. But if we scroll down here, they will go ahead and load in a route right up here at the top. You can see it. So this is just suggested routes that they have. You can pick other ones if you want, but whatever route is current in that box, if you scroll down here, zoom out, it will show you what that route currently is. So you'd see we'd take off here out of Aspen, probably weave our way through some mountains there, get up high, and then we head into Jackson Hole that way. So that looks fine to me. Here's one here with not as many waypoints. Let's see, kind of the same thing, and then you come in from the north side up there. That doesn't look too bad. I've got the charts pulled up in Navigraph for Aspen. I just want to see how many actual departures do they have. Because I know they only have, I think, one arrival. There's only one way in Aspen. I think there's a couple ways you can take off out of there, though. So they got the Aspen 7 departure. They got a Lens departure. So which one would this have us on? Pitkin 4. Okay, I see that one. That's an RNAV departure. So it looks like those are all the suggested routes. I'm going to click here to view more routes and see if any of them have like the Aspen 7 departure or anything like that. Looks like they're all the Pitkin 4. So that's fine. We'll just do this one. We have fewer waypoints. It'll take less time to enter it in. Then we come in from the north side up there. I'm cool with that. So anyway, once you pick that route and you have it set, those are the waypoints that we're actually going to be putting into our FMS. And then, of course, like I said, it'll show you a little map there. But once you've got all of that in, you can fill in some other stuff and get a little more technical with it. But for our purposes here, this is fine. And so I'm just going to hit Generate Flight. I'll make sure you want to generate the flight. You tell it yes. And so now it's actually preparing pretty much a real-life type of a flight plan. So it's going to show you your route here. These are going to be the waypoints that you're going to put in. Again, it's got the map here showing you everything. And then scroll down a little bit farther. If you go all the way down to the bottom, there's options here to upload it or download it to different things. And then here you can see at the very bottom, you can upload it to VATSIM Network or Pilot Edge or some of those. So I usually just leave it on this page at this point, and then I just have this open while I'm flying. You can always put it into a PDF and have it on your desktop or whatever you want to do, but I just leave this browser window open. That way I have it here when I'm entering the information into the to the computer. But we'll go through this here as we enter in information, but it'll give you like your block fuel amounts. We'll actually request this much fuel when we're on the ramp here getting ready to go, and there's a lot more in depth with it that I don't fully understand. So some of this stuff I may completely miss on, but in terms of, you know, the basics with it and knowing what waypoints you need to enter and your fuel amounts and all that jazz, I feel like I've got a decent handle on it. So that's what we are going to do. But yeah, that's how you file a flight plan essentially, and outside of just the software for Flight Simulator. But there is a shot of the route we are going to be flying. So we will be taking off right down here and just heading up north and coming into Jackson Hole. So, all right, well, we've got that going. Let's go ahead and hop into the cockpit and get this thing entered and get to rolling here. And there she is, sitting out on the ramp here at Aspen. I'm going to go ahead and set this view so that when we take off, I can quickly switch to the external view and get a shot of our gear going up, because that's always fun. So, all right, so we'll call that good, and we will hop into the cockpit. So before we enter anything in, obviously we got to get it running. So we'll go ahead and fire it up, and then get on the APU and all that kind of stuff so we can get to working in the computer. But before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and fuel it up. So if I hop back and look, I'm not going to pull it back up on the screen to transition back and forth here, but I'm going to go down on our flight plan, and there was a spot there called block fuel, and basically that tells you how much you need for your trip, how much extra it gives you for your, you know, extra 45-minute reserve, and how much you'll need for taxi and all of that. And it is telling me I need about 4,818 pounds. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this up 2 pounds. And then what we are looking for down here is fuel, and then that tells you the maximum allowable, and then we want to adjust that number right there. So we're just going to adjust the slider up here to get us down in the vicinity of 4,818. That's a little over, but I think that will be fine. And I think, what did I say? Did I load up 6 passengers? So Microsoft has us with a pilot, a co-pilot, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passengers and baggage. I never know when you do it on SimBrief if when you put in 6, it's assuming that there's already a pilot and a co-pilot, or if the pilot and the co-pilot are included in that. I'm not for sure on that. I think some people have researched that and figured it out, but for our purposes here, it's not necessarily life or death situation here, obviously, since we're in a simulator. But yeah, so we've got our fuel in, so I am happy with that. And so next is going to be us entering in the information into the computer. So before we do that, let's go ahead and get the aircraft fired up. So turn on the battery here. And then we will go down and start up the APU. And we are going to come up and watch for the little APU number right there. Looking for that generator to come up to close to 100% pretty much. And then we will swing right down here and toggle this generator. Give it a reset and turn it on. And now our APU is running and powering our batteries, so we are not basically going to run the battery down while we sit here and enter information into the computer. So we are good there. I will go ahead and look up and turn on a nav beacon just so that, or a navigational light, just so that other people on the ramp know that we're here and doing things. So, all right, so let's come down to the main touchscreen here, and we are going to go ahead and enter this in. I guess technically, well, I need to get my ATC window open. I guess technically, too, we would request for the clearance first, just in case any of it changes, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in, and then we can request for that after we get that in. So Going to go to flight plan. First thing's just going to be to put our where we're starting and where we're ending. So Aspen is ASE. Nice if I could spell. There we go. Aviation spotter. This flight is definitely going to be a good one. Yes, sir. About the most scenic flight you can get. I wouldn't mind taking it in real life, especially in this aircraft. Someday, maybe. All right. Got our destination and our origin entered, so now I'm going to hop back over to my flight plan and head back up to that section that had all of our waypoints. And the first part of it was Pitkin 4, which is our departure procedure. So that's not actually going to be a waypoint in here. That's actually going to be an actual procedure. So we're going to head over to the procedure screen, and it's going to give you a list of departure procedures for Aspen. And there is our Pitkin 4. And then the transition that we have, it appears, is going to be RIL. Because we have Pitkin 4, and then lens, direct to RIL. Yep, okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and load that in. Guess I also should take a look at the ATIS. Let's go ahead and listen to it here while we're doing this. See what's in use. It's not playing. I'm reading it, but I'm not hearing it. Altimeter's 3017. Visual runway 33 in use. Landing and departing runway 33, so we're good on runway 33. Go ahead and get that altimeter put in, 3017. I'll just right click on it. It's going to put me in at 3015. Winds 251 at 5. No clouds below 12,000. Temp is 14. Dew point 10. Altimeter 3017. Yeah, I wonder why it's got 3015 when I right click it, but we'll go ahead and move it up to 17. I'm going to watch again because I didn't see what information that was, so just to make sure that I get the right one. We'll head back down here to the screen as I let that go by. And then we are going to look at our arrival into Jackson Hole. Let me look here. They're telling me what information I have. It is Lima. Okay. Check real quick. I think I have voices turned down in the sound, which is why we could not hear that. Absolutely I do. Turn it up just a smidge there. All right. And so into Jackson Hole, they do not have an arrival. Let me look at our... Oh, yeah, we're direct in. Okay. They do have an ILS. Well, I'm not sure what runway is going to be in use, but what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do an ILS 19Y approach. And that sequence will be D&W. Okay, yeah, so then we'll go direct from our last waypoint. Didn't save it. Load it in. There we go. All right, so now you can see in our flight plan here that we have our departure and then that arrival coming in via the JAC. I guess that wouldn't necessarily be a waypoint. I think that would be I think they call it a VOR. But we have the RIL direct to D&W. And then we will be then direct into our oops. Desynchronized. Let's look and see what it shows for our... Oh, yeah. Alright, so I've got something in there incorrect. Let's take that waypoint out because that caused the issue. Just browsing the flight plan here because the last waypoint that they give us, I'm going to pull up their chart right quick. Jackson Hole, not a huge airport, so let's see what they have on their charts. Aviation Spotter, are you using the freeware Jackson Hole scenery? That scenery is probably the best freeware so far. Of course I'm not. Dang it. I probably should have looked that up. Does it make it a way, way better than it already is? Because I pretty well enjoy it even without, you know, just the way that it's modeled now. But holy cow, if somebody made a freeware for it, I've definitely got to check that out for sure. Just taking a look at their chart for their ILS approaches here to see what they come in on. So that D and W, quick at our... That's not right. I don't know why that's showing us our destination. Alright, so we got Jackson Hole in there. Go ahead and select our approach for it. The ILS. See how that makes our flight plan look. Okay, I think this may be fine. This isn't going to match exactly what we had on our flight plan, but given that we're not in VATSIM, no one's going to get too worked up about it not being directly as filed. But this now at least is meshing up with, yeah. Okay, this will work fine. All right, so we will follow the departure and then that arrival as well. And so we are also going to use our VNAV abilities here. So we are going to get some of those numbers in as well. So I'm going to pull up that chart for the Pitkin RNAV departure and see what it has in the way of altitude and other limitations, etc. All right, so we will be taking off and at ADI NY we got to be 8320 or above. And then Boyette nothing. Lens, nothing. And then Gleno, we are at or above 16,000. So when we put that in, that should then fill. Well, it didn't fill in for the previous waypoints. It's fine. We can put in information for them. Slalom doesn't have anything, and then we move on toward RIL at that point without any other restrictions. Curious why I didn't go ahead and fill those in. I haven't really messed with it too much on a departure as much as I have with an arrival, so we'll mess with that. I don't want to waste a ton of time worrying too much about it, because again, we're not on VATSIM where we're going to get too worked over by it. So now I've got the ILS-Y approach, so looking at that, the ILS approach, we've got Quart at 11,100. And we will get vectored down by this AI ATC. I mean, I've never done any of this before, obviously. I've always, when I just do the AI ATC, they just vector you down based on all of this anyway. So I'll go ahead and put it in, but just so that we can see our VNAV working like we had it the other night. And then we'll still follow their vectors as well. And then 9600 will be our last one here at FATMO. And then that's where we will get the localizer and all of that. So speaking of the localizer, let's go ahead and grab it for Jackson for that ILS. Go up here, just go to waypoint, frequencies, and we are the ILS 19. It's the only one. Go ahead and put that in the active for the nav1 frequency, and that is all set up. So, all right, so we're good here with what we've got our flight plan in as, and yeah, I'm happy with that. And then when we take off here, I will go ahead and pull up that departure so that I have it up here so that I can at least look at it, because Aspen actually is a pretty dangerous place to take out of, or take off out of. I always forget when they say it's there's either one way in, and there's only one way in, but you can leave a couple of different ways, or there's only one way out, but you can come in a couple of ways. I think you can only come in one way, and then when you leave, there's a couple of options for you, but it's you got to know your stuff when you're going in and out of Aspen, because a lot of big mountains right around you. And especially here where we're trying to do a lot of this with instruments, but honestly, probably when we go to take off, I will just fly a lot of it by hand here and just try to stay on the path that we're supposed to be on for this departure. So on the chart for this departure, it shows initial heading 331 to at or above 8320, which that's what we had in the flight plan for that first waypoint, Adeny. And then you climb right, turn to 16,000 on a 346 track to Boyette. And on 288 track to Lens. And then 247 to Gleno. So we would probably be getting those headings if we had an air traffic controller here giving this to us. If not, though, we just need to watch those, and I'll just put it in heading mode as we... Don't need to put it in heading mode as we take off. I mean, if we put it on autopilot mode and have it in FMS, it'll fly us to those waypoints. But and then we just expect clearance to our filed altitude 10 minutes after departure. Now, that is one thing. I just went ahead and put in auto altitude when I filed the flight plan, so I'm looking at it right now. So it put us at a 43,000 foot cruise, we're not going to do that. I think 28,000 is what I said we should do, just so that we don't miss out on all of the nice visuals. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and set in here, is going to be, we have that restriction of, well, it's at or above 16,000, so we don't need to stay below anything really. Starting out here too much, so I'm going to go ahead and just put us at the 28, and then we don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to worry too much about auto throttle at this point. I will control most of that, and then once we get up in the air, then I'll go ahead and get some of that set. But yeah, I think we're going to do that. Let's go down here. We'll go ahead and move it over into FMS mode. And then, like I said, I'll probably just use the heading bug. I hate it because it's so hard to see and adjust when I'm doing it, because if I come down here and look at my screen so I can actually read, you know, the heading right up over there. It's over there a ways, right above the compass there. I can't, I guess I have the dial here. I can change it to, on the Bravo throttle quadrant, it has a, yeah, I'll do that. But I think it only turns it in tens of degrees, so that'll at least get me close. So, all right, I think that works for a procedure here. We've talked it to death. We need to get up in the air and get to Jackson Hole before it starts getting dark. So, all right, we have that in. Let's go ahead and call for our clearance, though, just so that we can make sure that this is all going to work. They're going to tell us, shoot, they're going to tell us probably climb and maintain. Actually, you know what? I don't think I've ever done it with ATC like this, where I haven't done the flight plan in the world map. Oh, this may not work. Let's see what happens here. I'm going to click the request IFR clearance.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa is cleared to Jackson Airport as filed. Takeoff runway tree climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Departure frequency is 123.8 squawk 4042.
Cleared to Jackson Hole as filed. Takeoff runway 33, climb and maintain 8,000. Departure 23.8 squawk 4042. 6 Bravo Papa.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.9er when ready to taxi.
All right, well, he has us going to an initial 8,000. So if he starts putting us way up to into the 40,000s, then I'll just request lower altitude so that he doesn't sit there and bug us the whole time. So, all right, well, I'll go back and set that then to 8,000 then. I forgot, normally when I do that, I do the flight plan in the main screen there. But wonder where they are getting our plan from then, because he at least knows, he knew that I was going to Jackson. I wonder if when I enter it in to the computer system like that, if then they know at that point. Weird. Now it's I'm kind of freaked out by it. That's interesting, because all I did when I spawned in from the main screen was selected Aspen as my departure, and that was it. Because I knew I would be filing the flight plan and SimBrief, and then I would just come back here and enter it all in. So, cool. Okay. Anyway, all right, we're set to 8,000 there. Let's go ahead and get this guy started. So, I'm going to open up our fuel valves. Our parking brake is set. So I'm going to start with the right engine. Go ahead and turn it to run. Give it about 5 seconds for some sort of air pressure to stabilize and do something. I'm really excited for the working title longitude mod that's supposed to be out by the end of the year, because this whole main part is redone. All of this above me is all going to be redone. And then there is also, based on one of their screenshots, that now you can see when our N2 gets to 20, you see the N1 above that should start climbing up a little bit, and it's starting to. So as that continues to climb, I'm going to go ahead and now start. I'm going to close the little switch there, and there, the little cover, I mean. I'm going to go ahead and hit the left button to run. After a couple seconds, hit the starter, and watch it come back. But a screenshot also showed a little diagram showing like all of the routes for bleed air and fuel and all that kind of stuff, and basically a whole new interface, which is going to be awesome. So, all right, our right engine is getting up on the N1, so I'm going to go ahead and come down here and turn on our right generator. The left one, as soon as I see the N1 coming up, it is ticking up there, 5, 6. Okay, I feel good about that one. So we're going to go ahead and hit the left generator, open up that bus tie so all the electricity is flowing through both sides of the aircraft now. At that point, we can go ahead and shut off this APU generator, and then we'll come back down here and shut off the APU itself. So we won't sit around here and talk and waste too much more time. I'm going to arm the auto throttle because we did go ahead and put that certain amount of fuel in, so it's not like we have unlimited fuel to just sit here and burn. So go ahead and get the rest of our lights turned on. Go ahead and arm our emergency lights since we are hauling passengers. Look down over here and get our yokes out of the way. Get the pitot heat and ice protection on. Go ahead and arm that ELT over there. And after that, we are pretty much ready to roll, I think. I think that has got everything. Just give the passengers in the back a quick briefing and let them know that we are getting ready to roll.
Attention everybody, this is Captain calling from the flight deck. We are getting ready to take off here momentarily. Heading to Jackson Hole. Looks like time of flight should be just under about an hour and a half. Weather looks pretty clear and weather looks pretty darn nice in Jackson Hole, so look out the windows and enjoy your flight.
Alright, passengers have been briefed, and as we start rolling, my flight attendant will take care of the rest of the announcements for them, so I'm going to call and get our taxi clearance. Aspen Ground, Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa is ready to taxi.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa taxi 2 and hold short of runway tree using taxiway Alpha Alpha 9er. Contact tower on 118.85 when ready.
Taxi and hold short of runway 33 using Alpha Alpha 9er. Tower 1885 6 Bravo Papa. Right. Only one side of this airport that has runway 33, but I'm going to pull up the taxi map just so I know which one it is. Okay, we are good to go at this point. Just make sure I've got everything else good to go. I'm going to go ahead and get the tower tuned in on 885. Alright. Parking brake is coming off and we are getting ready to go. I'm going to hand it over to the flight attendant to let the passengers know as I start to pull this thing out.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the captain and crew, I would like to welcome you aboard. At this time, we are preparing for departure, so the captain asks that you please take your seat, ensure it is in the upright and locked position, and seatbelt securely fastened. For your safety and the safety of those on board, please comply with all lighted signs and crew member instructions throughout the duration of the flight. If you require assistance at any time, please notify a crew member and we will be happy to assist you. Once again, on behalf of the captain and your entire crew, it is our pleasure to have you on board, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Rolling past that lovely little, I don't know what you would want to call it. Actually, I don't know what you would call it. The airport office, I suppose. And so I'm sitting here talking sightseeing. I almost rolled right past our turn. And we're just going to inch it back around here. Actually, we need to stay on Alpha and just go this way. I forgot that that was the official taxiway there, so just need to pull a U-turn there. We're now officially on Alpha. Now we just go down to Alpha 9, which is basically the end of runway 33 down here. Yeah, Aviation Spotter, I'm going to have to take a look at that freeware for Jackson Hole. That would be pretty cool. I've flown in there a couple of times, and I mean, like this right now, I know that Aspen was technically considered a modeled airport, so I mean, but I was going to say, like, the way this looks right now, this is insane, and this is obviously without any kind of third-party mods, but like I said, they gave a little more extra care to this one, so, and it shows, for sure. I'm going to open up that little VFR map over here on the right side just so I can see it. Geez, that's killed some of the frames a little bit there. That was interesting. We must be taxiing uphill because sometimes we can get almost get up to our 20 knot speed limit on the taxiway when we're just running idle throttle here on the Longitude, but we were running idle right there and just about to come to a stop, so we must be heading to the uphill side. Outside real quick. Got our landing gear view all dialed in, ready to go. And like I said, the FMS has, you know, we've got it in GPS mode, so as soon as we get up in the air, we could immediately go ahead and turn on the autopilot and let it start taking us to all of these departure waypoints and stuff, but I think just for the sake of practice, I will go ahead and hand fly them for now, you know, given the fact that there are numerous mountains in the area, and it's always fun to know you have control of the aircraft. Should one of those start to sneak up and get in your way, you can easily get out of the way. So, but we're at basically, well, it has me climb and maintain 8,000 after takeoff, and our elevation right now is 7,810, so we're really not going to get too crazy high, but at our first waypoint, we got to be at 8320 basically, so we're just going to hand fly it and keep us in that somewhat general range of altitude there. So our altimeter is still at 3017. We'll just get a verification on that when we get our takeoff clearance here and make sure that is accurate. And then, yeah, otherwise we'll just kind of make our way across this departure and then see what they want us to cruise at and be on our way toward Jackson Hole. Get all of these rich folks that we're transporting to their, well, they wouldn't be going up there for the winter, obviously. They'd be wanting to get away from there for the winter, but I don't know. We're taking them up there so they can get in their other private jet. How about that? All right. We are holding short of runway 33, so we're going to contact tower and see if we can get ready to go here. Dialed in, so we will switch over. Aspen Tower, Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa, holding short of runway 33, ready for takeoff.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa, altimeter 30.17, winds 251 at 5. Cleared for takeoff, runway 33.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 33, 6 Bravo Papa. All right. Altimeter's still the same. We are ready to go. Go ahead and throw in 1 notch of flaps. Spoilers are armed and up, ready to go. And we are ready. Let's roll. Passengers should be buckled in if they listen to the flight attendant. If they didn't, it's their own fault. All right. We're just going to roll out here onto the runway, get her lined up, and go. Looks like a crosswind coming off the left. I think they said it was at 5 knots, so pretty negligible. Not even picking up any wind data at this point on the screen, so yep, I think we are just fine. There we go. We're going to look to rotate at about 110 knots, so we have got our takeoff power set, and we are going. There's our airspeed. Keep us in the center here with some rudder. There's 80, 90, 100, and 110. And we are up. Let's hop out to that external camera as those gear go up. And I'm going to go back to the cockpit so I don't hit a mountain. Alright. And I'm going to sneeze.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa contact Aspen Departure on 123.8. Good day.
Okay, I didn't sneeze. 238, 6 Bravo Papa, good day. Aspen Departure, Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa is at 9200. Departing via the Pitkin for our nav departure.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa Aspen Departure altimeter 30.17. Continue to be OYET as planned.
We will continue to buoy it.
Papa descend and maintain 8,400 feet.
Oh boy, you really want me skimming the tops of these mountains. Ascend and maintain 8,400, 6 Bravo Papa. I don't think that is right, but okay. In fact, I'll say okay, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen. Alright, we're bank hard left here.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway tree approach.
Go ahead and slow us down. We're really cooking at about 225 knots there. We don't need to be going that fast, especially since they want us to go down a bit.
Climb and maintain 13,000 feet. Expect vectors.
Should have pretty much almost dumped everybody out of the plane with that high banking turn there, but they weren't sitting down, they are now. In fact, I overcorrected the course just a tiny bit there. So we will slide back. See, we're at 12,000 feet. We're higher than we need to be, but I'll bring it back down. We're at 13,000 at this point. They haven't yelled at us, though.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa, please
Yeah.
expedite your descent 8,400 feet.
Just as I say that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put it on autopilot. They'll get us back on our correct route here. I'm going to go ahead and just request an altitude increase from them by like 2,000 feet.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa descend and maintain 10,000 feet.
There we go. Send to maintain 10,000, 6 Bravo Papa. Alright. This one may not have been the best departure to try and use vertical navigation with it. We'll use it on our descent and stuff as we come in, but I don't know that their 8,400 limit didn't seem to jive with the departure chart anyway, but I could be wrong. We're gonna need to be at 16,000 by Gleno though. So actually, I'm gonna go ahead and go down there and turn on. Let's see, I think it was in flight plan VNAV enabled. Because we do have our 16,000 for Gleno in, so we can go ahead and if we look down, we turn it on here. Get the primary flight display. Well, wonder if that's because I didn't have in all of our... Why are we... Okay, 10,000. That's right. I was thinking 11 in my head. It may not be coming up because we didn't have altitudes in for all of the other waypoints. Yeah, we've got them in until the approach. Yeah, we may just save the whole VNAV thing until we come around on the approach and worry about it then. Besides, I want to enjoy the views on this flight more than anything. So right now we'll just let the autopilot kind of guide us. We're holding at about 230 knots. I'm probably not going to cruise any more than about... We'll go 280. 280 will work. 345, 6 Bravo Papa, good day. Denver Center, Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa is at 10,000 feet.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa Denver Center altimeter 29.997 continue to Gleno as planned.
Those mountains in front of me look like they're a little bit higher than 10,000 feet. Maybe that's just me. I'm going to request they bump us up by 6,000 feet so that we can get to that 16,000. Thank you. Because if we don't, we're going to hit a mountain. And that becomes their fault at that point. Alrighty. According to the departure chart, we should have been at 16,000 anyway. Oh, sorry. Climb and maintain 16,000, 6 Bravo Papa. We should have been at 16,000 anyway. I think that's going to be one of the glitches with not having it inputted in the main world map screen like we typically do. Yeah, I think that's one of the problems that came with not doing that, so... Slowing down to 180, so we're going to speed up a bit here.
United 744 Denver Center, continue as planned.
Let's speed up our auto throttle here. Can't see it, so let's pull that up. $250, we're above 10,000. 250 is a good climbing number for this aircraft. We'll do that, and I will go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the auto throttle. So I do have a new set of throttle knobs for this Honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant coming. I 3D printed myself some that were more kind of, well, if you look up like a... more like a business jet, like maybe a Gulfstream or something. Kind of smaller, fatter type knobs. I 3D printed myself some and put those on here. And then when I learned the whole auto throttle situation, I wanted to do a... in real life, the throttle knobs, I don't know what you call them, throttle handles, have the auto throttle built in on those, as well as a go-around button and stuff. And I found somebody on Etsy that 3D prints those, and then they go ahead and put in the little switches and everything that so that when you pull off the handle off the throttle quadrant and put the new one on, you know, it contacts the little switch that they have on the inside and stuff. I found some plans where I could have done it myself, but I like flying more so than having to spend time 3D printing and dealing with all that kind of stuff. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and order that. I think they were like $40, so little steep, but in the end, it'll be fun now that when I set the auto throttle, I can just do it with my thumb on there and not have to use a switch that a toggle switch that I've mapped on the throttle quadrant and stuff. I can use that for something else now, but all right, we're cruising along. Let's take a look out a window or something so we can enjoy some of this scenery. Our right side looks pretty... left side looks good too. Let's go to the left side first. Not too shabby. Hard to beat that. And of course now we're banking to the right, so let's hop over to the right. Oh, there's somebody up there above us. Pretty nice. I do have the real-time traffic on, so any other actual real-life flights that are happening... Oh, there's some traffic going in and out of Aspen, so... And I guess we did hear them saying, yeah, they were talking to some United Jets and things like that. Pretty good view, though. Hard to beat that. Let's see how the people up closer toward the front are, what their view looks like. Yep. Take that any day of the week. Well, I don't think they are going to continue vectoring us up, so I think that was probably the thing here, was that they didn't, the flight plan only took us so far and how much information they actually had, so I want to cruise at about, I don't know, 28,000 is kind of what I was thinking, but take a look out the left window here before we go back to the cockpit. That's pretty nice. We'll go. God, I really don't want to go too much higher. It's just so much cooler when you're down about this level and cruising. Now, our fuel calculation and everything was done based on the fact that we were going to be at 45,000 feet, and you burn a lot less fuel when you're at, or 43,000. Didn't think about that, huh? Let's go to, we'll go 30,000 feet. I think that'll probably be fine. Let's hop back up to the cockpit. So we're at 16,000, so I need to get another 14,000 feet out of them, so I can request an altitude increase up to 10,000, so I'm going to go ahead and request that.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa climb and maintain flight level 260.
I'm going to maintain 260, 6 Bravo Papa. Alright, so that is 26,000, and I'm going to go ahead and use the flight level change button, rather than vertical speeding my way up there. And we will just let it take us. We'll stay at 250 knots. Maybe that'll save us on some fuel. Somebody out the right window there. I'm not sure if you can see it. Alright. Flight level change will start climbing us up and get us moving there. Let's look out that co-pilot dashboard. There's some traffic up there. But how's everyone doing on this fine Saturday night? Is anybody else flying, or are you just watching at this point? Oh, and it's in the link to this video description and pretty much any other video that we have out there, but we did go ahead and start a Discord thanks to my friend Aviation Spotter. He made me aware of it. Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't even know what a Discord was prior to that, but got on there and learned a little bit about it, and it's a pretty cool thing. Just kind of basically like a big community page where anybody can post about anything and chat about stuff and do all that, but there's a link in the video description. There's one on the About page on the YouTube channel. But yeah, if you click that and you're on Discord, it should take you right to the page and let you join up there. So I've got a little bit of information about the working title Longitude mod that they are having coming out here at the end of the year. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And yeah, just kind of a place to have some fun. I love memes. I'm a meme guy, so if you got funny memes, throw them up there. Especially aviation-related ones. That's always a blast. So, but yeah, just kind of a fun place where everybody can hang out and talk when we're not actually on here streaming. So, I've been hitting it pretty hard here this first month or so that the channel's been around. You know, really trying to get some traction with it. So, probably won't keep up this streaming schedule where I'm on here almost every day, or at least 5 times a week. So, probably we'll end up getting scaled back to maybe about probably at least 4 times a week. I would like to do 4, so, and that's between flying and plane spotting, so maybe a couple flying, a couple plane spotting, vice versa, whatever, so, but, yeah, that's kind of the way it stands now. Switch over to the pilot view here, but yeah, I'm just trying to kind of keep building on things here and keep keep doing some different stuff with the channel. And if you watched our latest plane spotting stream, the one from last night, I had a bunch of new stuff there in terms of, kind of like I did with the cockpit here in this, on the flying streams where, kind of just when we're chatting or when we kind of start and in the stream, just having the cockpit there makes it a little more exciting than just looking at the plane sitting on the ramp or anything like that. But did the same thing with the plane spotting stream. I kind of teleport myself into the tower up there, and we've given a name to our new to our plane spotting drone. Obviously, we use the drone camera, in the game, but I call it the Citation drone. It gets up there and can spot any aircraft in the sky, landing, taking off, whatever, and it just zips around the airport and gets us those great plane spotting shots. So that is our Citation drone, and our Citation plane spotting headquarter tower. If you watched last night, you saw that. In regards to the Discord, I was just sitting there, and my wife actually mentioned it to me. We were sitting there, and I'm like, I guess you use this to build a little community is kind of what I was saying. And I thought, well, community, it needs a name. You know how everybody on YouTube and stuff, their communities, they call themselves something, and it just immediately, I didn't even think about it for more than about a nanosecond. And I went, well, of course ours has got to be called Sky Nation. So if you join the Discord, you are officially part of Sky Nation. So we're getting fancy around here, but yeah, so I'm happy with the way things are going here. We're growing, and okay, we're up to 26,000. I think, you know what? If we start to run low on fuel, I'll just come up to the bar and add some, because I like these views. I don't want to go much higher than this. So we'll just cruise at 26,000. That'll be fine. But yeah. So I did that little overlay too with the flight plan, just using the main display here and making it appear as though we're entering the flight plan there actually on the display. I have no idea if that's... Oh, forgot to change the altimeter. There we go. Climb and maintain 2606 Bravo Papa. Always forget something. Alright. That'll climb us up to 26,000 now. But yeah, doing that little overlay where we do the flight plan actually on the display in the plane there. So, if people do that in real life, cool. If not, it's just our own little thing here. But we have that. And then I did another one where if we're on a long-haul flight, or if we're on a flight like this, and, we've done some external views, and, we're just kind of on a straight path here where we're not really going to have to do much piloting, at least for the foreseeable future here. If somebody in the chat or, or if we come up with something we want to go check out, or maybe it's like I don't know, maybe a YouTube video or something like that. Our plane comes with a built-in, I guess we could call it a television. But let me show you right quick. Another little perk of being part of Sky Nation is all of the different things that we have available here. And sorry, I'm just kind of rambling because I'm trying to find something here. Just a second. Yes, let's get to some plane spotting from last night. Boston was fun. We found out that we had on the real-time traffic, so it was also picking up real-time AI traffic, but it didn't matter. It was still fun. But yeah, so if we're on a long-haul flight like this, and there's not much we're going to have to do for a little while, or somebody in the chat says, hey, I just saw this really cool video, you should go check out so-and-so, I may say, oh, well, let me just pull that up here while we're, piloting the aircraft. And so as we're flying here, I may say, well, let's go check that out. And so we'll do a quick little look down on our main display, and oh yeah, well, that's some of that Citation plane spotting. Look at that. And over here in the corner, wrong way, this way, way over there to the other side of the screen, completely opposite of where I am, we've still got a view of what's going on. So if we all of a sudden ran out of gas and started falling out of the sky, at least I would be able to see it over there, and we could at least just watch it happen. But otherwise, yeah, we can we can come down here and just kind of check out, somebody says, hey, let's go check out this YouTube video of something really cool about the longitude. We can go do that, or, we can cycle through here and look at some of these awesome plane spotting shots from the Citation drone yesterday in Boston. But, yeah, basically just kind of watch some TV while we're flying, so... I just have too much time to sit around and think of different ways I can make the flight more immersive and things like that. But yeah, so that is just one other option that we now have while we're flying here. If we got something we want to go check out, we now have a way to do it without dragging screens and everything else onto the screen. And, if you've watched this channel for so long, you know immersion breakers are my pet peeve, so. But yeah, let's hop outside. We haven't been outside, other than to watch the gear go up. That's mainly why we took this flight anyway, was the scenery here, so. We'll watch some of this for a little while. But I am also always open to suggestions on things that you guys may want to see that we're not doing, or things like that. Doesn't mean I'll always do them, but I am always open to ideas of ways to make things better, or more enjoyable, or more entertaining, or what have you. I know that, this is a channel built around not only Microsoft Flight Simulator, but then more closely the Citation Longitude. I know a lot of people are into... Holy crap, I can tell by looking out the window there. We're really putting our fuel load to the test, because we've been flying with one notch of flaps ever since we took off. It'll be a miracle if we do not run out of gas. But anyway... I know a lot of people love the airliners, and then also just, any new plane that comes out or whatever. I'm not the one that bounces around between planes, so if you're looking for a whole lot of variety in the type of aircraft we're going to fly, not really going to happen. I'm in love with this jet, and I've built this channel now around this jet, and then also hearing that Working Title is working on a mod for it, that's not going to be changing anytime soon then for me. I'm going to be sticking with this jet for the long haul. And so, so if you're thinking, well, can we fly some different aircraft? I probably won't do that too much. Some of the very first videos I put out were of some different aircraft, the King Air and some other ones that I wanted to try flying, because I've always liked those too when I was younger. So I do have some early videos out of some different ones like that, but for about the last 3-4 weeks, it has mainly strictly only been the Longitude. So we get our fill in the plane spotting videos we do of all the other different aircraft, and the reason I like watching some of these streams that these guys do with Flight Simulator that fly the airliners and stuff is because I love watching people fly those. Flying one, I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't know why. Obviously the Longitude is just a smaller version of, an airliner basically. It's not like if I was flying a Bonanza for the channel, and that was, I could see the big difference there between, okay, you're talking about an A320 and a Bonanza. So somebody may be like, well, why don't you fly airliners if you're already flying, like the Longitude? I don't know. It's just the fact that it's a little bit smaller, a little more compact. I don't know. I just like business jets in general. I've always loved Citations. So, and yeah, I know the CJ4 in terms of the whole package of it being modeled out and the working title update that they have with it and everything, and how realistic it is. I started out wanting to fly it, but then the first time I clicked the Longitude and saw that it had a G5000 suite in it, and it was all sleek and touchscreen and everything, and I thought, you know what, this is the future here, so I'm going to go ahead and get on it now and start building my channel around it. And so I have a feeling after the end of this year, when that new mod comes out and makes the Longitude one of the premier planes in the simulator, there's going to be a lot of people migrating toward it. So hopefully I already have my my stake kind of claimed with some Longitude content, and being a Longitude streamer at that point. And so but yeah, so in terms of, like I'm saying, throw out ideas there if there's anything else you'd like to see. But I mean, mainly flights like this where I try to do it as realistic as possible, always having at least some sort of ATC. So like in this case tonight, just with the AI ATC. But, we try to do VATSIM more. I've done 3 or 4 flights on it so far now. So still doing that, and, trying to get some more of those flights in and get more practice there with dealing with real world ATC, simulator real world controllers. But, yeah, doing those, and then, what's up? Oh, no, thank you. I'm good. It looks good. What is it? Is that ramen? Sorry, son came in, was offering me a snack. But doing these real world flights and, doing them realistic. I haven't done anything extremely long haul yet. I mean, the Longitude can go quite a little ways, so I mean, we could do a pretty long flight if we wanted to. Maybe we'll do one of these days. Now that I have the YouTube TV screen modeled in there, that would make it a little bit easier, especially if we're doing a 4 or 5 hour flight. If we need to kind of kick back and pull up some other streams or videos or something to watch along the way. Now we have that. But yeah, so we may have some long haul flights in the future. But I think between these types of flights with the Longitude and then our live plane spotting videos, which people are seeming to enjoy those, as long as we can try and keep them as realistic as possible, where it feels like you are watching actual live plane spotting in real life, but within the simulator. I'm kind of trying to continue to build on that as much as possible. So between those two types of content, that's really what I've got so far with it. The only other thing I'm thinking about doing, because most of the content that I'm putting out right now are live streams, is I know that not everybody wants to go back and watch a 2-3 hour long video. And most people I know, just from seeing like the analytics on the watch time of some videos, because I always like to go back and see what parts did people watch, because that kind of tells me what parts they liked. And it is pretty obvious that everyone watches the takeoff and then skips to the end to see the landing. And so, and I get it, I do the same thing as well. So takeoffs and landings are kind of everybody's jam. And so one of the things I think that I'd like to start doing is at the end of each week, maybe on a Sunday or something, release kind of a highlights video from the previous week's streams, showing maybe some of the fun parts that stood out during the stream, and then obviously the takeoffs and landings, and kind of consolidate that down into maybe about a 8 or 10 minute long video. And I think that would just be one extra piece of content out there that I think people may enjoy watching as well. So just kind of like a little weekly recap. So we may get into that, obviously not this week, but maybe next weekend we'll see if maybe we can get one of those out there. But other than that, I'm just going to kind of keep doing what I've been doing. So I do post some shorts now and then, just taking usually snippets from our plane spotting streams. So some funny moments, some ones that look awfully realistic, and throwing those out there on the shorts, and they get some traction. And it's fun kind of reading some comments of people that talk about how realistic it is and how realistic it looks, and then they find out it's a simulator and they're kind of shocked. So that's kind of cool. 2435 6 Bravo Papa, good day. flight level are we at? 26,000? Hop back in the cockpit and look before I contact them, just so I can make sure. 26,000.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa Salt Lake Center. Continue as
I
planned.
pushed the button before I had a chance to actually say it to her. Alright, so we are going to continue trying to look and see, do we have a waypoint coming up?
Salt Lake Center, United 216, is at flight level 355, descending 12,000 feet.
See, I'm looking at
United 216 Salt Lake Center, continue as planned.
our little VFR map here, and it has us flying directly to the airport, flying over it, flying way up north of it, doing a U-turn, coming back down on the approach. So we are missing a waypoint in there, and I think it's that DNW, which I think was a VOR. So I need to see about getting that put in. What ILS were we on? Yeah, see, technically it thinks we're on the approach at this point. Yeah, CR. I think, well, if I took that approach out, all of a sudden we are going to not be flying where we need to go. Actually, I want to see what happens if I... Transition J, yeah, see, that's not our transition point. Our transition point should be, well, not any of those. Just need to pick a new one, basically. Moss? Yep, that's what our transition point needs to be. Well, I'm putting these in and then I'm looking at this. Oh, well, that just updated nicely. It did have a whole bunch of loops going around here, but I think it just fixed itself. Okay, I'm happier with this now. We're still down here, so we've still got a little ways to go, but into Moss, DNW, trips, and back around. Okay, I'm happier with this now. Let's see what the actual flight plan looks like. So now we're going to Moss, then to DNW, okay. That's better. Let's go ahead and put some altitudes in, because I do want to fly this in using VNAV. I'm going to say... doesn't really have one listed. I'm going to go ahead and put in Moss at 12,800. Looks like that's the airway altitude. And then we'll hit the DNW, VOR, and then we look like we're at 11,100 for Quart. And so that'll, yeah, DNW, it'll keep us at 12.8 and then drop us down. And then trips and FAPMO. Trips is 10,200 when we hit that waypoint.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa contact Salt Lake Center on 128.
And then FAPMO is 9,600. I think we had that in before. There we go. 2835, 6 Bravo Papa. Good day. What was our altitude? 26? Yes. Salt Lake Center, Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa is at flight level 260.
Cessna November 316 Bravo Papa Salt Lake Center, continue as planned.
And then I'm going to start watching this pretty closely once we start getting closer to this Moss waypoint, because I don't know if they're going to start vectoring us down or not. I'm going to assume probably not, since the flight plan is kind of a little wonky, but at the same time, like I said, was not entered in the world map screen. So I may have to start just giving myself my altitude descents. So we will see as we get a little bit closer. But all right, cool. we've got a little ways before any of that happens, and we will just hope that we don't run out of gas before that happens. Just curious. Let's look. What do we got? We've got 544 gallons, and I believe there was a setting in here that would tell me when I would run out of gas. Let's go find it. It's always fun to be told when you're going to run out of gas. Fuel range. Range to altitude. May end up looking all over the place for it and never find it, so I'm not too concerned about it. We are off of our purple line there just a smidge, but I think we're okay. Zoom that window out just a bit. Oh yeah, see, we got a user waypoint behind us. So I'm going to go ahead. Do we already have direct to MOS activated? I think we are on our way to MOS at this point. Okay, yeah, I won't worry about that then. Alright, cool. We're on our way. And we have been at our cruising altitude for a while. I don't know where our flight attendant was on that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, so you are now free to move about the cabin. We will be making our way through shortly with complimentary food and drink service. And as always, if you need assistance, please let us know.
Oh yeah, just follow that up. You may want to eat and drink that food fairly quickly because we will be descending here in probably about the next 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you.
Just give them a little warning now, just to shovel that in as fast as they can. We were a little late on the service there. Let's see what they're looking at right now. Let's see how the other half is living right now. Can't beat that. Remind me when I get back up to the cockpit to go ahead and make sure that we still do have the ILS frequency in for that ILS approach after we did all that messing around on it. I can't remember if that got switched off or if we left it alone, so I'll double check that once we get back up there. But yeah, as always, you can see up there the very top bar on the overlay on your screen there is always going to show you our departure airport on the left, and then on the far right where we are heading, so our arrival. And then that red bar going across the top is showing you the progress to get there. So you can see we are a little more than halfway there, so not bad. You can see then our airspeed there at 250 knots. That's actually what we have it set at, like on our auto throttle right now. And if we go to that screen, you can see down in the very bottom. Actually, I'm covering it up. Let's see. Right there is our true airspeed. So we are at 371 knots. So 250 knots showing on our FMS display, 370 knot true airspeed, and then our ground speed, because we are bucking a 24 knot headwind right now, is about 350 knots. So we're not breaking any speed records. We could be cruising along at about 320 knots right now, or 315 probably. We're at 26,000 feet. Probably about 310. Mach 0.78, somewhere in that vicinity. But we're fine right here at 250 knots, just enjoying the scenery. So while I'm up here, let me take a look and make sure that we still have 109.1, and that is the frequency for this Ils approach, so we are good there. We'll make sure that we catch that localizer. Now that I do have some traffic, I'm going to click this traffic map button. I also need to look into that. I've never really utilized the traffic map on this, partially because when I have flown with the AI ATC, I'd never worry about running into one, and I don't fly VFR with it hardly ever. But it would be handy for VATSIM, so we may look into that more in the future to understand that a little bit better, but snow-capped mountains out there in front of us. Let's look out the co-pilot's dash for a little bit here. Got a good view of them. Just currently browsing the live flight simulator YouTube feed here, seeing who else we might have on stream. I like these guys that do the long haul airliner flights. To be able to stream for sometimes 10 hours, impressive. Oh, let me give you just a sneak peek real quick of our buddy Liberty Flight. He is a guy that I came across and watched a little bit before I started my channel, and he's a good dude. I like his content. He is not shy to let you know that he is a beginner in this stuff and in no way a professional. Let's hop down to the old YouTube stream. He is a good guy and fun to watch, and there he is. He is actually live right now, Liberty Flight. So, if you go check him out, let him know that Skytation sent you. But yeah, he's a nice dude, and I've popped in on his stream a couple of times to watch. He is one that will go through a bunch of different planes. So he will just about every stream he does, it's going to be a different aircraft. So, and that's GA, airliners, everything. I did just get him. Let's do something real quick. Scroll down to his chat. Bring up some volume here. I think you guys can hear him, I think. Not sure if you guys can hear his audio or not. Not showing that it's actually on the OBS mixer. I'm not seeing it there, but if you can, he just saw my message that I said you're no pressure, but you're live on my stream and we're watching you land. So he said this is not the one to watch.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa descend and maintain flight level 180.
If anybody's listening in my chat, can you guys hear him, or are you just seeing his mouth moving? And we just got a request to descend. Descend to maintain 18,000, 6 Bravo Papa. Okay, you guys can see the stream, but you can't hear the audio. Okay. Yeah, he's just, he's a little nervous now. He said he's never successfully landed that aircraft yet. It's a 146-300 professional, whatever that is. I think it's some sort of an airliner. But, we'll stay with him here for a minute. We're starting to descend, so we'll have to hop back here and actually land this plane. And if you... Let me see here. I'm going to go ahead and slow us down to 240 knots. This would probably be a good time to check and see what we've got for fuel. Yeah, 495 gallons. We're not going to run out. You can see down there in the bottom right, our main screen, there's a tiny little VNAV1 in our chat called it the Boeing banana, which is just basically a little arc there that's going to show you, according to our VNAV, where we will be, where we will hit the indicated altitude on our descent right now. And so looking at our VNAV, we have it set at 12,800, but right now we're just descending at 18, down to 18,000 based on their request. But 12,800 is where we're going to want to get to before we get down to our first approach waypoint. Here it comes. Hey, he got it down. I think he was lying. Not the first time he's landed that plane. I'll give him a nice job done. All right, Aviation Spotter is landing at your home airport. Ah, cool. Charlotte. Yep. Yes, sir. Do you happen to know the guy that is that controls that airport a lot in VATSIM? Liberty's saying he's never had a successful flight in that plane, but he We just witnessed history. So there you go. He said it's a pretty delicate aircraft, so. Well, he got it down, so. Well done, sir. All right, well, we'll see if we can land ours here at Jackson Hole. Right. Oh, that was fun. Yeah, go give him a look sometime. He's a good dude. I enjoy watching him. And like I said, if you like the streamers and the pilots that fly a lot of different aircraft, he's your guy. Cause he has quite the fleet of them too, payware and freeware and all kinds of stuff. So, all right. We are inching closer here to the Moss waypoint, which is going to be the first one here as we enter the
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa, you are 5
approach.
miles southeast. Descend and maintain 9,900 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway 1 approach.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select another approach here.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa, roger.
And I'm going to select the ILS Y runway approach, and that way they're not going to sit there and give us vectors. Jack transition. See, that's not the transition we want. We want the Moss transition, but that's not an option.
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa, you are 56 miles southeast. Descend and maintain 11,000 feet. Expect vectors. ILS Yankee runway 19er approach. Circle to land runway 1.
Circle to land runway. All right, I'm just going to acknowledge that, but we may shut that off as we get a little bit closer and just fly this in ourselves. Honestly, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and cancel the IFR. We're going to cancel the ATC at this point and go ahead and...
Cessna 6 Bravo Papa IFR flight plan is canceled.
Yeah.
Radio service terminated. Squawk 1200.
I'll go ahead and squawk 1200.
Frequency change approved. Good day.
And we're still going to follow the ILS in, but we'll just do it ourselves because they don't have the right transition point, obviously, in the Microsoft system, which is why it wasn't loading in correctly to begin with. But this will work just fine. We'll fly this in and keep it on the ILS approach, but we'll just vector ourselves in. So we need to be down at, what I put in, 12,800 by the time we get to Moss. Yeah. So we'll go ahead and use our VNAV. Looking at it here, so we're at 18,000 right now. So to get down to 12,800, we could start that descent now, and honestly, we're at 240 knots. Let's go ahead and do that. So given the fact that we are going to start the descent, we'll let the passengers know.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign as we have begun our final descent. Please return to your seats, ensure your seat backs are in the upright and locked position, and seatbelts are securely fastened. Please let us know if you need assistance.
We're going to go down to 12,800, which is going to be that first fix. I'm going to go ahead and do a flight level change for that. We're at 240 knots. Yeah, if we look down at our main flight display, you can see the little carrot coming in, the Boeing banana. So it's actually going to have us coming in, the top of descent there being a little bit short of Moss, so we should be fine there. We could go ahead and do this with vertical speed, and we would want to put it about where the little caret is there on the right side. So looking at it, that little caret would tell us what our vertical speed needs to be. And so right now it would be like at about less than 1,000 feet per minute to hit 12,800 by the time we get to Moss. But since I did a flight level change, it's just going to be taking us down based on our speed and, you know, keeping the nose pitched at a comfortable angle, basically. But it's going to go ahead and bring us down to 12,800, and then from there we will use the VNAV to then bring us in for these last few waypoints on the rest of the way in. Looks like I do have traffic off my right wing. I don't know their altitude, but we'll be okay. We are full realism here. We have the all the crash settings on, so if somebody mid-air's with us, it might not be pretty. So 10 miles from Quart, we need to still be at 13,100. So I think, did they give us the 12,008? Because if they did, that is too low. And I think they were expecting us to fly over the airport at that point on whatever that weird waypoint was that they were going to have us take in. So I'm going to put it back to 13,100. We're going to go ahead and climb up to that just to make sure we clear these mountaintops. And, yeah. Let's come down here and zoom this map in a little bit closer now. Alrighty. Yeah, so that traffic is apparently right over there, but I'm guessing it's way up high. Yep, there it goes. We're fine. Alright. Can't beat that view, as always. Okay, aviation spotter. I don't know his voice. I do not, but I know his voice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just know. I want to say that he's one of the guys that has stopped by here a couple of times, because I remember really early on when I mentioned that the ultimate goal was going to be VATSIM, he was like, well, the first time you fly, go out of Charlotte because I'm the ground controller there. And I said, oh, okay, well, I forgot about that. And plus, I don't know if he's been back ever since then, but I can't remember what his name was. I guess I can go back and try to find the stream and see who he was in the chat. But yeah, he said he was typically the ground controller at Charlotte, so that was kind of cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start backing us off here. No real speed limits on this approach chart, so we'll just go ahead and come down to a safe, 215 knots for right now as we come up on the Moss waypoint. And since we are below 225, I'll go ahead and give it a notch of flaps. How do I have traffic, aviation spotter? I turned on the real-time traffic. So there's no players in here, no multiplayers, but I do have like real-time, real-world traffic on, so that's why there is other traffic in the game.
Going to 133.25 Alaska 770.
Alright, so we're holding strong at 13,100. That's what we need to be 10 miles away from Quart. And now that I look at it, we actually don't have, I don't think Quart was on our, oh, yes it was. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so once we start getting on our way to Quart, we need to be at 11,100 at that waypoint. So yeah, so we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the 11,100, but we will not start descending to that just yet. It says when we're about 10 miles out from it. Right now we are 8 miles away from Moss. And then Moss is probably about another 10 miles still to Quart at that point. So we will we'll just kind of hold tight here at least until we pass Moss, and then we'll probably go ahead and start the descent. We've only got, I mean, we're moving from 11,000 or 13,100 down to 11,100. And what do I have in for 12.8? That was... Oh, I think that was for that DNW waypoint. So, looking at the map here, this DNW waypoint, I think we had in 12,800 for that. So that's why we have it as our referenced altitude up there in the purple that you can see up in the top right of the main display there. So once we pass over Moss here, we will go ahead and start the vertical speed descent, and then we will follow the caret down. So I'm going to go down to the primary display here, and you can see that big caret under the V right there is starting to work its way down, and right when it gets to the center, that's when we want to start the descent. Well, and now that's just because we have gone past the the waypoint we were headed to. So we're at 11,100 is what our next waypoint is for DNW. And so really at this point we can basically just hold here until we start to see that number start to drop again. So, hey, Liberty Flight, what is going on? Looks like you got her all landed and shut down and put in the hangar for the evening. You are on board. Fantastic. We're glad to have you. We're just trying to do a VNAV ILS approach here. Just kind of messing around with the longitude, finding out what works the way it should and what doesn't. So since you're on board, let's take a look. You're sitting back there in the back left by the engine, so there's your view right now. Pretty hard to beat that. Flying into Jackson Hole on your private jet. All right, let's... Yeah, we hopped over. It just put me to the toilet. Yeah, we were kind of up here just cruising, and I mentioned one of the things I added here was the ability for us to go check out some other streams, or whatever we wanted to be able to look at when we weren't having to actually pilot the aircraft. So I'll show it to you right quick. But this is what we were watching as we just went down here to the main flight display, and there was your stream right there, sir. And that's where we hopped in and decided to watch you land. So that was what we were watching. And you put it down nicely, as a matter of fact. I'm beginning to wonder if you were lying when you said you've never flown that plane before, or never landed it successfully. I'm just kidding. All right. We are now on that waypoint 2. Quart. And we need to be at 11,100. So, our VNAV should start coming into play here pretty soon. I'm going to go ahead and slow us down to 180 knots, because once we make this final turn left, we are all but going to be at the airport. So that'll be the second notch of flaps, and yeah, you can see our vertical speed indicator there, the big one on the left, the big caret coming down. So as that starts to get toward the center there, then we will throw on the vertical speed, and then I will start bringing it down at whatever rate it shows we should be coming down at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and true up the altimeter here just to make sure we're on the right one. All right, that is inching its way down. I guess I don't need to be so close to it here. I want to be able to look out the window and make sure, yeah, we have mountain range in front of us. All right, so we're basically there. So I'm going to go to vertical speed mode, and then we're going to start dropping it. And boy, that is hard to see. The little caret is down there at about, what is it, probably about 1,500-ish. So we're going to get it lined up on about that number. And that should then get us to 11,100 at the time we hit Quirt, which is in about another 5 miles. So that is our VNAV, our janky VNAV at work, basically. Yeah, I noticed your captain shirt you were wearing there. That was pretty slick, man. We are landing in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I kind of teased in my thumbnail or my description title for the videos that this is basically the private jet owner's flight right here, because we went from Aspen to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So if that doesn't scream I'm rich and have a private jet, I don't know what does. All right, so we are coming down to 11,100. We will then make a left here at Quirt, and then trips should be at 10,200. And then we will have that final at FATMO at 9,600. And by that point, we should have the localizer, and we will be coming in on the glide slope. So I'm ready as we switch to a new waypoint. 10,200 is our new altitude setting. I'm going to go ahead and get that put in. And we are already past it, it looks like. So we need to get down. Yep. We got 29 seconds to get it. And we now have the localizer. So at that point, we're out of VNAV mode. I'm going to throw us into approach mode. You can see the little green glide slope indicator has now shown up. And as that ticks down right to that center line, you will see that white glide slope indicator turn green. And then the plane will then start descending via that glide slope. And then you know you've got the localizer when obviously this line is turned from purple to green, and this up here is now a green LOC and not a purple FMS. That has now turned green. We now have the glide slope, and now the plane is basically just going to bring itself in. So let's hop back up, do what little piloting we actually have to do here, and basically land the plane once it gets in close. Gotta love the nice approach into Jackson Hole Aviation Spotter, absolutely. You cannot, let's look out the right window there for the people on that side. They're looking at some pretty nice mountaintops. Cannot beat that at all. I would love to say I have the runway in sight. I do not. We are still a little ways out, but I think it's up there a ways. Let's oh, okay, I see it. It's just kind of out in the middle there. Alright. Alright, so we're cruising along at 180 knots. We got a little ways to go, but we'll go ahead and slow it down. I like to usually go ahead and drop it to the auto throttle can take it down to 150 with our full notch, our final notch of flaps in. Can also go ahead and drop gear at this point. Our landing lights are on. Yep, we're good there. Alright, so gears down. Full flaps are in. The auto throttle has it at 150 knots. I'll go ahead and take that, and then we'll bring it down closer to between 130 and 140 once we get pretty much in over the numbers. And then, this doesn't matter, but I'll go ahead and untick VNAV up there. We don't need that anymore. And then, yeah, we'll take it off of the autopilot as we continue to come down. What is our wind doing? Got a little bit of a 9-10 knot quartering tailwind off the left, so that's fine. I'm just enjoying the scenery as this autopilot brings it in. Look at that. Come on. How many people are fishing in that river right now? Getting buzzed by a longitude. That is insane. This is not what simulators were like back in the early 2000s. This is crazy. Oh shoot, do I have time to get Sky Dolly up? Hurry, hurry, hurry. That's the flight recorder so we can catch the landing. Come on, start up and record. Thank you. Whew, that was close. Alright. Always like to go back and capture our landings. Okay. Auto throttle's off. I now have control of that. We're going to bring it down. Slowing the plane down. Autopilot's off. We've got it now. Let's bring her in. A little bit of tailwind, but that's fine. Boy, this runway is just out in the middle of nowhere. Drop the throttle. Wanting to float a tiny bit. Really better get on the brakes. We're gonna roll her all the way out to the end here. There's a taxiway right here. Alright, reversers can come off. And we will exit right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at our destination. For your safety and the safety of those on board, please remain seated with seatbelts securely fastened until we have parked and the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, indicating that it is safe to exit the plane. Please ensure you have all electronics and personal items before exiting, and on behalf of the captain and the entire crew, it was our pleasure to serve you.
We're just going to taxi right back to... What do they have here? That looks like... Yeah, there's nothing on that side of the airport. Okay, well, looks like they just have some terminal slash FBO slash something, so that's where we will go. Okay. Aviation spotter. Yeah, man, the freeware KJAC scenery is amazing. You definitely should feature it sometime. Yeah, absolutely. We'll fly back here a whole bunch. That Aspen... Maybe next time we'll go Jackson to Aspen, because the Aspen approach is something else too. It's definitely a fun one. But yeah, I'll go check it out. And then, is there more than one or a specific one? If you have a chance, maybe link it or go put it in the Discord just to make sure I get the right one. Liberty Flight, very nice landing, brother. Thank you very much, sir. It kind of got hung up on one wheel. We'll replay it back here in just a second, but I felt like we touched down on the... Felt like the right main first, but we'll go back and do a replay and check it out. Liberty, that flight attendant doing the talking would be my wife. I had her record those for me. I put a filter over it that makes it sound like she's talking into an intercom, and she is my flight attendant that makes all of the announcements to all of our terrific passengers here on the Citation. We have one before we depart. We have one once we hit cruising altitude. We have one once we start to descend, and then we have one when we arrive. But yeah, that's that would be my flight attendant. So, all right, we're just gonna taxi over here and just kind of park out in the middle. I could be mean and park them way off over there somewhere and make them walk, but they're probably hoity-toity and rich, and they don't want to worry about that. So we'll bring them up here close, I suppose. Alrighty. We'll give them a nice view of the mountains here from the cockpit. Right. And that, oh, there's a better mountain over there. Let's keep turning left, turning right, I mean. Right. There we go. Alright. Alright, and we are in Jackson Hole.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived in Jackson Hole. Go ahead and get off of my plane. Don't leave any of your crap, and we hope you fly with us again here on the Citation. Thank you very much.
All right, we're parked. We won't shut her down just yet. Let me turn off the crash settings, because every time I try to do a replay and it picks up the airplane and drops it down, it tells me that I crashed and that I have to restart. So turning that back. All right, let's stop the replay. Let's go in and load the replay, and let's see how we did. Hit play here so we don't continue falling out of the sky. All right. We'll do our typical plane spotter style here. Oops. If I'm going to do that, I need to be able to get ahead of the plane. Let's speed up the old Citation drone here. We'll catch those mountains in the background. There we go. Alrighty. Get us out of the grass there. And let's see, we floated a bit, so we're going to be down here by the time we touch down. So let's come in about right here. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and play that, and let's see this landing. Little mini flares. You can see the nose keeps pitching up. Just making sure we don't descend too quickly. Yeah, they touched about... Oh, I didn't have the rotation speed enough to keep up with it. I'm going to catch that one more time. I guess they touched about the same time. It felt like the right one came down and made contact a bit before the other one did. Let's try. Let's see. I don't know. The left one then came up a little bit. So they touched about the same time, and then the left came up. But you know what? I'll take that every day of the week. Well, all things considered, I think that was pretty successful. We had a little trouble with the AI ATC and the whole flight plan and getting everything into where it needed to go, and having everything, I don't know, I guess you'd say, being if we would have entered it completely correctly with the world map flight plan load or whatever. Since we did do this in SimBrief and then just entered it all in manually, and flying into these two, in and out of these two airports, I mean, they're not like, if we would have flown like out of Dallas or something, you know, there would have been plenty of departures and things that we could have loaded in, and probably, and the flight plans would have been a little more a lot more waypoints and different things like that. But regardless, I mean, it did pretty well, and we just canceled it midair and stayed on our approach and just did it that way, which in my opinion turned out just fine. So, but yeah, that was a scenic flight. Aviation Spotter, I'm gonna go get that scenery pack and put that in and try to make Jackson Hole look even better than it already looks. But yeah, I think, yeah, I'm trying to think of anything we could have done differently. I think we did fine. We flew the departure like we were supposed to. Most of the route was good, and then yeah, once we put in the approach, we actually had the direct to the first approach waypoint, which was, when I look at it, I mean, that's what the flight plan would have been anyway. So I think it all worked out okay. So I'm happy with that, and I think we are good at that point. I don't know why we're watching this replay, because we are parked. So let's just go ahead and hop back into the cockpit. I have since kicked off all of the passengers. They are gone. I'm just sitting here by myself. Don't mind the fact that it looks like Dallas-Fort Worth Airport behind me. It's not. I promise you that's Jackson Hole. Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. Liberty Flight, my man, good to see you. Good landing on your channel, by the way. Guys, go check him out. I like watching him. He's a good guy, and he has got a fleet of aircraft. So if you like seeing a bunch of different flights, go check him out. Yeah, Aviation Spotter, always good to see you. Go check out our Discord. Link is in this description, as well as about every other video description. So hop on over there, and you can continue the discussion over there. And we talk about anything flight simulator, longitude, all of the above on there. I mean, we will eventually. There's like 3 posts as of right now because we just made it 2 days ago. But we're gonna fill that baby up with the Sky Nation community. So yeah, go check that out if you guys get a chance. Otherwise, thank you for stopping by, spending your Saturday evening with me. This was a fun flight. We will definitely do this one again, and hopefully next time with a little bit of extra scenery. So that said, thanks again, guys. We will talk to you later, and I will probably not be live tomorrow. It's Sunday, football day, and we've been live the last 2 or 3 nights in a row, so probably going to take tomorrow off, but probably be back Monday night, and hopefully we will see you then. Talk to you later, guys. See ya.